All right, finally a green light, and we are off. See how it does turn it into this lane? Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. FSD Dream Team, you guys are doing a fantastic job. Unfortunately, still too close to the curb on that turn. That has been an issue in every update, and also on this one, and yeah, it's still getting too close to that one. So we've got these monster speed bumps here where, sorry, there was a cop going by there. I didn't want him to think I was on my phone. We've got these monster speed bumps here. I'll back up so we can see if it recognizes them. But they're just designed to destroy your car. So you have to go over them at like 5 miles an hour because they're basically just straight up and down. And unfortunately, FSD is set to go over speed bumps at 19 miles an hour, and yeah, it's going way too fast. So I have no idea why that has not been fixed yet. Oh, so it's wanting to go into the parking lot now. It's never done that before. That is where the destination point is, so it's good that it wants to go into the parking lot, but I don't actually want it to go there. Navigate to Olympia Mark III. Okay, so we're set up for our next unprotected left onto the main road. As you can see here, there is a sign blocking our view. We're clear to the right, so we just need to see that it's clear to the left. It is. We should be going. We should be going. Okay. Very bad. Very, very bad. I'm going to give it another shot at that. But, yeah, it waited. It waited while it was clear and then went when it was not. So that's about as bad as you can ask for. So I'll let you know when the car will be able to see around the sign, which is now. And there is traffic coming, so it needs to wait. After these two cars pass on the left, we're clear to go. Clear to both sides, and it's proceeding. So good the second time, but that first time, oof, that was terrible. That was really horrible. Got a tiny smart car here, which we are slowing down for, which we should not be doing, because it was not turning into our lane. So yeah, we've seen a whole lot of improvements so far, but we've still got major issues with traffic. And normally it does a lane change here, and yeah, it's wanting to do it again. I'm going to cancel it because there's cars over here. But every update, it's wanted to lane change to the right here, and it's a counterproductive lane change. Well, apparently we're doing it anyway. Because our next turn is left. And it's after this stoplight, so all we're doing by changing to the right here is making it harder for us because we're going to need to change back. And we also potentially block people who want to turn right at the light. So we're not going. Definitely slow to accelerate there. It might be because it needs to change lanes and it wanted to get behind this SUV, I'm not sure. But we did get over. Did a good job on that. And that's the first time we've seen it had to do those lane changes in traffic, and it did a fine job. Had like a 1 mile an hour slowdown there for no reason. And this is where we need to turn left, and there's a lot of traffic this time. a new experience for our Olympia test drive. So there's a gap right after these 3 cars here. Now we should be going. We should be going, but now it's too late to go. And it was trying to go anyway. So that's not good. Okay, turned it back on. Now it's okay. I'm pressing the gas because there's somebody behind us and we're hesitating in the middle of the turn. Navigate to Olympia Mark IV. So yeah, I would say so far 10.5 is fantastic. It's doing a fantastic job of navigating the roads, but not a good job of navigating the traffic. Now that's not a regression because I can't say that it's a regression. I don't know that it is because our previous drives were late at night with no traffic. So I don't know if 10.5 is doing better or worse with traffic. All I can say is it's doing better with the roads themselves. Okay, so low visibility, but you can see through the gaps over here that it's clear. It should be able to see that it's clear now, definitely at this point, and it's going. So waiting for that car there. On 10.4, it cut the turn very hard on this, and again, no corner cutting on 10.5. So we need to go around this, and it's not going to do it as usual. Navigate to Olympia Mark 4.5. So yeah, it's always tried to run over the lower lip of that roundabout. These are little round, okay. So it's waiting for that car again. Problems with, it's waiting for this truck, I think. Still problems with cars in the other lane, making it jumpy, and it stops for them when it should not. But yeah, these are small roundabouts that have a raised center and then a lower lip around that, and FSD does not really heed the lower lip. So on 10.4 it cut the corner, or it turned actually wide on that in 10.4 and did not do that this time. And again, it turned wide on this turn. This time, no problem. Well, actually, a slight problem because it stopped at the end of that turn. Not sure why. But it didn't take it wide, so new issue, I guess. Navigate to Olympia Mark V. So on 10.4, it was not able to visualize the roundabout on the screen. We're seeing that again. And yeah, it's pretty much just going straight into it. So no improvement there. Didn't really expect it. Okay, so we're going to be going straight. There's another roundabout up here that will be going straight through, so second exit. And we'll see how it does with that. Slowing down a lot. And steering around the lip and steering around the curb, and that is a successful roundabout. Awesome. I don't recall if 10.4 it did that one successfully. Okay, so we should be going straight through this one. That's what the navigation shows. It's having a lot of trouble path planning here. And we got a car coming, and it's just stopped. That's the first time it's ever stopped in this roundabout. It didn't seem to have anything to do with the traffic, so I'm not sure why. Navigate to Olympia Mark 5.5. Okay, so we got a lot going on here. There's a car coming from the other side. There's somebody crossing with a stroller. I don't know if this person's going straight. Looks like they are. And we are abandoning it on the second exit. Okay, so I've navigated us back around to this roundabout that we just failed on, and this time we're going to try to go straight through it to the exit that we were originally supposed to use. We are going around a person and their dog there. That was a good job. So we initially came from the left and wanted to go around to the straight, to the way we're going now. So I did manage to navigate going straight. Navigate to Olympia Mark 5.5. Oh, interesting. So it wants me to select, and yet it's not letting me select. This is a new issue. Navigate to Olympia Mark 5.5. Interesting. So we had to like cancel our current route before it would let us select a new route, and yet it wasn't forcing us to do that before. So we're having the same issue as previous updates where it's too far to the left in the lane on this turn. So if somebody else were trying to turn past us, they would not be able to do so. On this one, we've always had a problem with this getting too close to this curb. We need to creep. There's very low visibility because of the trees to the right here. It should be able to see far enough to go now. And it is. And okay. Yeah, I think it was a little better on the curb there. I mean, I didn't feel the need to disengage. Navigate to Olympia End. And every other version I have had to disengage because it was going to run into the curb. So yeah, it was still too close, but not as close as it was before. Okay, and it's going to go over the lower lip of that roundabout as expected. We've never successfully made it around that one so far in any other update either. Going straight through this one, success. It did slow down at the end unnecessarily, so I will mark that. But on 10.4, it came in hot on that curb and I had to disengage, so I'd call it an improvement. Pedestrians on both sides here and a speed bump, and it did a perfect job navigating all of that. Gave the pedestrian some extra space by moving to the left, and it slowed for the speed bump. Or slowed for both. Okay, so this is our last right turn until our return trip, and it should be able to see now, and it's going. Okay, so some improvement on the creeping behavior on that turn. And we had a person and their dog on the right side there, gave them a little bit of room. That was good. So here is our blind corner. So as you can see, it's actually blind to both sides, but this is the most blind side. And now it should be able to see, and it should be able to go, and it is. Very nice. Last time on 10.4, it actually skipped the stop sign, so I think we can say there's improvement there at least, and then moseyed out to the far side of the road where the second lane crosses and stopped there, which is pretty much as bad as you could ask for. But that was also at night and with a vehicle parked just to the right where it was severely blocking visibility, so I can't really compare the two. We'll see how it does next time that the car is parked there, making it a truly blind corner. So as noted, we lost our blocked road that we were using in our previous test case. Well, the good news is construction never really goes away, it just moves one street over. So on the far side, much like last time, we have a half-blocked road. So I stopped it here because it looked like it was just driving straight off the road, but I decided I may have been a bit preemptive, so I gave it another try. Now granted, I did give it a handicap by lowering the speed just to be safe. As you can see, if I give it a little more patience, it does successfully navigate around. Granted, we did go off the road just a smidge, but it was okay. Of course, the real success would be at recognizing that it says road closed and just not going in there. But as far as the collision avoidance software, this is about on par with what we saw from 10.3 approaching from this angle. Unfortunately, when we continue and approach this magical blue genie, it does not stop, or perhaps it was trying to rub the lamp, I don't know, but bottom line, it was going to run into it. Second attempt produces no better results unless, of course, you wanted to know what it looks like for a semi-truck to breakdance. Also tested it in the reverse direction, and it did successfully navigate around the barrier again, apparently visualizing it as cones. And if we approach from the opposite direction, then we have basically the same scenario that we had approaching head-on a half-blocked road before. In previous updates, it tried to run directly into the barrier and had to be disengaged, but yet, on 10.5, it not only navigates around, but flows around it smoothly. A major, major improvement. Of course, immediately after, it has to try and wedge itself into this inhospitable space like a sardine, and I have to put a stop to that. So, still some kinks to work out. But, while I can't be entirely certain since it is a slightly different scenario, it is very, very similar. So I'm gonna call this an improvement. And of course, you know we had to test this since it tried to drive into it on 10.4 and 10.3. Now, despite what you may see on the Tesla screen, don't get too excited. This is not an autonomous Tesla semi-convoy. Perhaps my car Skippy is daydreaming about that, or maybe this is what he counts instead of sheep to fall asleep. I don't know. Being serious, obviously, it's the closest model that it has in its graphical system to represent a train. So as you can see, this crossing has a stop sign, but no lights. In the past, in this circumstance, it has stopped and then tried to proceed through the train, but as you can see in 10.5, it is remaining stationary and not committing suicide, which I would have to call an improvement. Now, I'm not entirely convinced yet that it's completely solved. We'll have to test some more stops. It's a bit tricky to catch the train since it comes late at night, but I will make an effort. Without further ado, let us adjourn to the scoreboard and see what the numbers have to say about 10.5. Well, if nothing else, it certainly improved symmetry. For new viewers, this is broken down by how much of a barrier it is to robotaxis, no human driver needed. Major issues are showstoppers that absolutely have to be fixed before that can happen. Minor is more comfort issues, and then moderate are kind of in between. As you can see, between 10.5 and 10.4, we had significantly fewer major issues, more moderate and way less minor, and fewer issues overall. And remember that this is a favorable comparison even though last update we were doing it at night with no traffic. So to have fewer issues and especially fewer major issues on this drive is quite impressive. You can also see that while our interventions were quite a bit higher, our disengagements were quite a bit lower. And while 10.4 had more regressions than improvements, the opposite happened here by more than double. Of course, these counts can be quite situational and misleading, so let's take a look at the general issue types. The numbers on the left there are major, moderate, and minor in descending order. So obviously the biggest regressions we have in 10.5 are that FSD just refuses to function in the rain and at night. All the improvements in the world don't matter much if it won't turn on. I think I've done enough of a rant about that already, but would very much like to see that completely taken out in the next update. Doesn't seem to be the direction they're going, though. I have no idea why. Then we've got the new issue of not accelerating on their on-ramp. That's weird. That one random stop after the turn in the neighborhood near the end of our drive that it wasn't doing before. Coming to a full stop in the roundabout where it was only slowing heavily before. And the minor inconvenience that it sometimes will not accept a new destination on the navigation until you cancel the previous one. Then there's the improvements list, which is quite robust in 10.5, starting with 6 critical improvements, no random disengagement, which I believe was due to the map and GPS being off in 10.4. That's gone. It is now willing to do the unprotected turns turns that it was just giving up on before. It's taking a much more safe distance from a lot of curbs, and it did a great deal better with the blind corner, though we will see if that continues. Seems to be doing better on half-blocked roads. We haven't been able to see a fully blocked road on 10.5 since they rudely finished working on it. That's got to be the biggest surprise of 10.5. So I can't say for sure it's solved yet. Also seems to be doing better at stopping for trains, but again, I'd like to see more from that before I say it's solved. Very happy to see that it is no longer trying to go into turn lanes while it should be going straight. The corner cutting on the turn seems to be completely solved, though I wouldn't be surprised if we see it crop up again in future updates because it's just one of those things. Keeping a better distance from parked cars as well, which is great. It's no longer doing that one turn very slowly. It's no longer doing abrupt steering or deciding at the last minute to take a turn. Went faster through the light in Elma, and there's been a lot of improvement on the excessive creeping that cropped up in 10.4. Altogether, an impressive list. So here is the list of issues that are presently preventing us from getting to robotaxis. First and foremost, we have it tries to run into traffic. That's a bit of an issue. Now, granted, humans do this at times too, but it needs to be brought down to an extremely rare occurrence before robotaxis can be a thing. I'm honestly surprised that it's still such a prevalent issue, since the logic of it is actually pretty straightforward, it seems like. As long as it's able to accurately measure the position and thus velocity of vehicles, it should be able to just plot the course that it intends to take and do the same for the other cars, calculate when each of them would intersect our path, and then go at the appropriate time when the bounding boxes of the cars would not be colliding. Of course, I am not involved in programming this, so I'm sure there's a lot that I'm missing. It just seems to me like a simpler problem than, say, navigating a construction zone, which could be basically anything. Otherwise, we have the shutting off in rain and night, which is an entirely artificial problem that Tesla has imposed on themselves and can be taken away at any time they choose, so I'm not worried about those in the long term. There's not being able to get to the destination because it's not on the map. That's a pretty straightforward problem to solve. Not too worried about that. Getting too close to curbs or other objects, particularly on turns, has been a problem forever, but it's also progressively gotten better, and I can definitely see in less than a year's time that it could get to good enough. These little roundabouts, the biggest issue it's having with them is that it's not swinging out wide enough at the start, so it ends up trying to run over the lip of it. It's been a very long time without any major progress on those, which is concerning, but on the other hand, this particular type of roundabout has probably not been high on their priority list, so hopefully once the other issues are out of the way and they can focus on this, it'll make progress more quickly. And finally, the road closed or generally just detecting obstacles in the path issue. Again, we couldn't compare one-to-one with the previous update, but it seems like that has been significantly improved. And those are the big issues, so I'll leave you to review the moderate and minor on your own. It was a pretty exciting update, and as much as some of the problems got my blood pressure going, they are ultimately inconveniences, and in the long term, we took big steps forward with this one. So great job to the Tesla team. Please stop taking it away from me. If you found this video helpful and want to help others find it, or help me feel good about all the hours that I sunk into it, subscribe, comment, hit the thumbs up button. Of course, if you hate the video, first off, why are you still here? You don't have to do this to yourself. Let the pain end. It's okay. And second, obviously, hit the thumbs up anyway, but send the link to somebody that you want to punish. Let me be the new Rickroll. I'm willing to make that sacrifice. Alright guys, thanks for riding along. See you next time.